As you all probably know, one thing that's been an issue lately is finding a computer. With scalping and shortages being abundant, it's been hard even to snipe a deal on a used machine. But what about used, broken ones? In this video, we'll be going through the process of buying, testing, and repairing older, broken machines. We are mainly focusing on Macs today, but I'll throw in some PC tips here and there, just because Macs hold their value a little bit better. If you've ever bought a broken thing online with the intent to fix it, you probably already know a few things. But if you haven't, here are some things to look out for. 1. Untested machines. Untested machines can look to be a great deal, until you realize that the most knowledgeable sellers who see untested stuff know exactly what they're selling. Untested allows anything to be wrong with what you're buying. Water damage, board damage, irreplaceable, or flat out even missing parts aren't unheard of when buying untested. So keep your wits about you, and if it smells fishy, then stay away. 2. Release dates. Some sellers who just don't know what they have will assume that the year that they bought their machine is the year that it came out. I've seen eBay listings for a 2012 MacBook Pro listed as a 2015 to 16 one. This listing here doesn't specifically say 2015 MacBook Pro, however, that was the search term I entered, and getting this machine, it would have been bad if I had bought it and realized, oh, this is a late 2013. It still shows the importance of cross-checking your sources. This can also work in your favor if someone doesn't know the release date. They'll probably assume that the computer is older than it really is. To check release dates and physical differences, I usually use an awesome tool called MacTracker. 3. Cost of repair. You may see an eBay listing for a MacBook that, quote, just has a bad screen. So you might think, oh, what deal I've come across. Wrong. In many cases, a replacement screen can be as, if not more, expensive than the rest of the computer. Unless you want to make one of those slab books that's been making the rounds recently, I'd stay away. Pretty much just make sure that the cost of repair doesn't exceed the worth of a better purchase, or the worth of the machine in general. There's also reliability to take into consideration. Take, for example, the 12-inch MacBook. This is my personal favorite form factor of Mac, but I have yet to own one. This is because they weren't made from the most reliable parts. It's pretty common for CPUs, RAM, drives, screens, the one USB-C port, and keyboards to fail. So basically everything there is to make it usable. The TLDR of this chapter is be observant, sniff around to see if there's a fishy deal, and cross-check to see if the seller knows what they're selling. As I said earlier, that can also work in your favor. Now that you know what to look out for when buying used, let's talk about some strategies for actually obtaining these things. 1. Bulk buys. While it may seem counterintuitive, why do I want 10 broken computers instead of just one? Buying in bulk can be a great deal. If you know enough to repair one machine, buying multiple may give you access to replacement parts that you can salvage from other computers in said lot. You will most likely also get a better price per machine. Any spare parts or computers you may be able to fix, sell, and flip, and maybe even come out ahead of what you spent. Next video idea. 2. Patience. You may really want to jump into something and fix it now, but don't be too quick. You might want to wait until you find a deal you can't resist. I'll be talking more about that later. 3. Sources. Some of the better sources won't be as obvious. There are sites like eBay where you may be able to find a deal. If you do look on eBay, sort by newest listed. That way you can find things that others may not have had a chance to see or even buy. But instead of that, I'd recommend looking locally. Not only can you see the condition of your newfound project, but it also makes it easier to bargain and haggle. You're also competing with less people. On eBay, there are people from the entire world probably looking for the same thing you are, but in your state, town even, there won't be nearly as many people competing and looking for old broken stuff. Wait, hold on, where'd the music go? Okay, that's better. I'd also recommend looking at your local recycling centers. Give them a call, see if they allow people to come and pick up e-waste. I've done it a few times and have actually gotten a few great spare parts out of it. Never be afraid to ask around either. You never know, there might be someone in your neighborhood or family who wants to get rid of an old computer that you can fix up. So, with how to find a machine, let's take a look at some of the problems you can look out for that might be an easy fix. A beeping computer can mean a lot of things, and it can be quite concerning. However, with a Mac, this almost always means either bad or missing RAM. On a PC though, it could mean a dead or dying PCIe device, CPU, RAM, or motherboard issue. Just try to narrow the problem down using the listing's pictures or ask the seller, especially if you're buying locally. 2. What am I? What's my purpose? If a Mac makes a funny face at you when you try to boot it up, such as a spinning globe or question mark folder, good news, you're probably in for an easy repair. This will most likely mean that the storage drive is dead, whether it be SSD or hard drive, or that your operating system is corrupted and needs to be reinstalled, both of which are an easy fix with a screwdriver and a flash drive respectively. 3. Seriously? Your password is password? A forgotten password is no big deal on older Macs or even newer Windows machines. All you have to do is reinstall the OS and you'll be good to go. One thing to look out for is a BIOS or EFI lock. Those can be tough, if not impossible, for most people to get around. Are you excited? You should be. You've just learned some tips and tricks on how to score a cheap computer for only the cost of some elbow grease. Some last piece of advice, before we go into some of the examples of things that I've gotten, are to always clean out the inside of a computer during repair, and you'd be amazed at how much this helps thermals, especially if it's a laptop. You should also reinstall the OS, so that you don't end up with the files, programs, or shady things that you don't want. And during repair, go slow and be careful. On older devices, plastic can be brittle and easy to break. Connectors are not fun to have to resolder onto their motherboards. The last thing you want is to have to order a new part just because you're too excited about fixing a device. So now let's take a look at some of the stuff I've found while treasure hunting. Okay, so we have my iMac, I got it for $15 at a garage sale. We have my Apple II, I got it for $50 at a garage sale. iMac G4, Power Mac G4 Cube, and Power Mac G5, and a few PowerBooks that I forgot to mention. Also, everything in this server rack was under $100. And this 2013 iMac I got for free from a neighbor. So with that said, you can probably consider me living proof that good deals actually do exist out there if you're willing to put in the work to find them. Tune in next time for a lot of time lapses of me fixing MacBooks from eBay.